I'll do a roll call. Mrs. Hardin?
Present.
Vice President Heredia? Myself. Mr. Terrazas did let me know he was not going to make it tonight. Didn't have a babysitter. And then Mr. Guadiana.
I'm here.
Okay. That moves us to our board norms. Number 1, actively listen to all perspectives.
Number 2, close the loop responding to concerns and questions as a unified board.
Number 3, model of professionalism we expect from all members of the district and community, customer service orientation.
Number 4, positive intent. Assume positive intent.
And number 5, be positive and responsive. Okay, if everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the leading symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Okay, that moves us to item 2, adoption of the agenda. I do have a few recommendations. I would like to move number 9, board members report, to immediately after the adoption of the agenda. Also, if we can move public input, item 3 to after 4D. As well as our finance committee and audit committee report immediately after public input. And then Juno made a good catch on the back. If we can move number 13, reconvene an open session before item 12, our action item. Are there any other recommendations? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to number 9, our board members report. I wanted to move it to this portion of the meeting because I wanted to introduce our new interim superintendent, Mr. Randy Piper. We're glad to have you on board. He came out of retirement. He did 6 years at Wardsburg Municipal Schools and 2 years at Truth or Consequences, and then quite a few years at the REC, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're excited to have you, and if any of the other board members would like to give a report or welcome our new interim superintendent, please feel free.
Thank you.
Welcome, and we're happy to have you.
Welcome. I'll give a little bit of a report of what the conference was.
Okay, go ahead.
And all of this was done during the conference, actually. And during the conference, I attended a few sessions when we weren't doing the interviews. One of them was a session for advanced or people that have been on the school board for some time. And I was really fortunate to be in that group, and such that there was a lot of experience there, and there was a lot of discussion and a lot of things that we don't do here that much, like board meetings, all board members meeting with the superintendent on an occasional basis, and a lot of different things along those lines, which Mr. Piper mentions that he likes to do during his interview. So I think it's moving us in the right direction. I also mentioned the things about having to deal with our finances, which we are at a big threat in our finances still by being behind in turning in the annual audits. We can't build a new school until we catch up on that. And so that was one of the things that I brought up. There's a big challenge. But then I also brought up one of the things that really we're excelling in for a change. And the high school, all the schools had been doing, elementary schools had been doing really well, especially compared to the middle school and the high school. But this last year, or this year, the high school had shown so much improvement. And a lot of that's attributed to the history coming into this year, but more importantly, there was the the principal who decided to break out of the classrooms and do them in the library, and that made it more of a formal setting for them, a little bit more serious. He engaged students in actually knowing where they stand in their colors, whether they're red, yellow, green. And so having discussions even in the hallways with the students about, let's get it up. And there was areas in math that were improved as much as 40%. And that's phenomenal. And it's same in language. And so that got a round of applause, and it really makes me happy to get that kind of response with that group of people. Other parts were more mundane, like actually one was harassment in terms of bullying, cyberbullying, and so the one I really wanted to mention was this one here, because I was able to point out some things at the school.
Thank you. I also like to go back and talk about the conference. I attended it as well. I didn't do the veteran board member training. I wanted to do the new member, even though I'm about 2.5 years in. But I really liked Ruidoso Municipal Schools and their approach to how they govern, and the way that they approach governance. It's student focused. And so half of their agenda is based on students, 50% or more of their agenda. And they had all board members read a book about student governance, and that's at the forefront of what you do. And they created a 6-year plan. So I'd love to share that with the board. There was a great presentation that the Lieutenant Governor gave, along with Kim Lanoy Sandoval from Future Focused Education, on the use of AI in education. And then the CTE pathways and the graduate profiles, a very inspiring story of a young woman who was about to drop out of school. And so giving kids the opportunity to really hone in on their skills and be able to do things in order to graduate. So I really liked that. As Mr. Guadiana said, some of the others were a little mundane. I attended one on free speech, the modern student. So there was a lot of case law that went over with the school board members. But this was in between us doing interviews for the interim superintendent. So I was glad I was able to attend the law conference. Anyone else like to report anything?
Yes, I would.
Go ahead.
I'd like to applaud Special Olympics, district and state, and you should have just seen their faces. It was just awesome, just seeing the kids' faces doing their routines and everything. So that was really awesome.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, so that moves us to new business, item 4, new business, item A, presentation of the basketball team district champions. And I please ask if you could stay, because we're going to have Senator Gabriel Ramos do his presentations as well. Did you want to go first, Senator?
Yes, if that'd be fine. Chair, do you want me to just do it from here? So,
I was motioning to come over here so he can get on the mic. So come on over here.
no problem. Thank you, sir. Madam Chair, Council, thank you so much. I really do appreciate, I'm sorry, board. I really do appreciate you putting me on the agenda. You know, I've sat in your shoes before, and I've served with this great district before as a board member, and you have some tough decisions to make as a board member. So I applaud you all for working so hard and diligently to keep this district afloat. And I thank you so much. But today I'm here to celebrate with you, to celebrate our great state champs that we have in this room. It's an honor to be here today, to be surrounded with such great, talented young ladies. I know things right now are not going as well as we probably all want it to be, because there's some strong decisions that you all have to make. I don't even know the details on, you know, the softball situations and what have you, but I'm thinking that you all are making the best decisions you all can to keep our programs going. Again, I'm here to honor these young ladies and a few men that are going to be receiving Senate awards from the state of New Mexico. And we have some great young ladies. I had the privilege to be on the Senate floor when our cheer team won the state tournament, and they were announced on our Senate floor, and it sent chills up and down my spine. And I congratulate each and every one of you that went out there and with that great spirit won the state cheerleading competition. And when it comes to softball, I had the honor to umpire a lot of their games, and these ladies were something else. You know, they just had so much fun when they were playing. I mentioned it to the coaches. What are you all doing to have these girls just happy all the time, go lucky, talking to the umpires, especially this one right here. She was a lot of fun to umpire behind. And, you know, you all just have such great leadership. These girls are amazing. It's awesome to know that you're only losing 3 seniors, I believe. Am I correct? 3 seniors? So I applaud you 3 seniors for moving on. And not everyone can say that they've been a state champion. Not everyone can say that they actually worked diligently to accomplish that great ordeal, which to me is awesome. I was never a high school state champ. I tried really hard, and I never was able to be a state champ. So I honor each and every one of you today. And it's just a great honor and privilege to be your state senator and know that we have so many state champions here today. I had a big old speech written out, but I just want to tell you all that I'm very proud of you all. I kept up with a lot of the coaches throughout the state tournament because I wasn't able to be there. And it was just awesome to see the way you all conducted yourselves and did such a great job. Coming back and winning that state championship was just so awesome. Got to see some of it on video, and I'm just so proud of each and every one of you. We're also going to honor some people today. I believe they're seniors that are going to be heading on their way. But what I ask of each and every one of you as being state champs is carry all that you learn forward in life. Because life is hard. Life isn't easy. Just like you practice when you were little kids, becoming softball players and cheerleaders and dance and what have you, is the same as it's going to be for life. You got to practice that thing. You're going to fall on your face. How many of you fell on your face when you were kids, when you were in cheer, when you were out there dancing, what have you? It happens, right? But you get back up, you dust yourself, and you move on. And being state champs here today, I know you have had to go through that. You know. And so again, I applaud you all. It's really great to be around so many state champs in here. I don't think we've had so many state champs in this room here at one time in many, many years, if it's ever happened before. But you ought to be proud of yourself. You need to carry on, use that winning spirit throughout life. Because again, life is hard, but keep that cheer within your heart, keep that momentum going throughout life. And remember, you'll never fail. The only people that fail are the ones that give up. And you just keep working hard and keep working hard to accomplish any dream that you may have, whether it's to become a doctor, a lawyer, a welder, it doesn't matter. If that's what you want to do, you do everything you can in your mind to accomplish your dream. So congratulations to each and every one of you. When I call your name, can you please come up? We're going to start off with, I've got so many certificates here, I tell you what. We are going to start off with softball. Okay, we got Serenity Rivera. This is what it reads. New Mexico State Senate, 57th Legislature, 2025. The New Mexico State Senate hereby recognizes Serenity Rivera, 8th grade, or Cobre High School girls varsity softball, NMAA 3A state champions, 2025. Serenity Rivera. Lily Medley. Sandy Huerta. Diana Grijalva. Isis Dominguez. Stella Sight. Maddie Fayette. Giselle Valdez. Alexis Carrillo. Maya Dominguez. Charles Walker from Jasmine Field. Alessandra Jimenez. Martin Madrid. Analisa Tobar. Yesenia Silva.
Senator, if I may interrupt, I also wanted to acknowledge Ms. Silva. We were at our New Mexico School Board Association conference, and she did win one of the scholarships that was offered. So she was one of 24 awardees, and so they said they would send the check directly to you. And so congratulations, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Actually, I brought the check and gave it to Mr. Goff. Is it here?
Yeah,
Is it-
Okay, great. Mr. Guillen had
Okay.
told me they were going to mail it. Even better.
Jessica Garcia. Aaron Amador. Bianca Rivera. And now for the ones that should be cheering the loudest. We have cheer. Katie Marquez.
Katie,
Leilani
we also from the board have this. And softball ladies, we can get with your parents. Pieces of Life did this for powerlifting and cheer, so we would love to get you guys your pictures done too. So we'll coordinate so you guys can get your pictures done. And the team pictures in the back. Okay.
Leilani Marquez. Anthony Madrid. Jasmine Steele. Alessandra Jimenez. Alexis Carrillo. Joey Rodriguez.
Alexis.
Peyton Diaz. Adriana Alcorta. Jeffrey de la Torre. Adriana Luke. Did I pronounce that right? Okay, great.
We're still waiting.
Alaya Cordoba. Remember that one up here? Okay. Emily de la Torre.
Emily.
Nevaya Cabrera.
No, not Porto.
Reagan Salcido. Alaya Sala. Adriana Hernandez. Gabriana Medina. Ali Peru. Isabel Ortiz. Danica Peru. At the beginning, actually at the end of the year, we contacted your district and we asked for some type of or actually names of some people that should be recognized. And these names were given to us to the state senate, okay? And this is what this one reads. New Mexico State Senate 57 Legislature 2025. The New Mexico State Senate hereby recognizes the individuals for the multiple different, I guess, we could say, accomplishments that they made throughout the years, throughout their 4 years in high school. So Annalisa Tabar for 4-year Letterman cross-country runner, 5-year Letterman softball player, All-State 3 softball player, All-District 3 cross-country runner for 4 years, member of Student Council, NHS, and NHS president, cumulative GP of 4.12. Senia Silva for All-State 3 volleyball players, All-State 3 softball players, and cumulative GP of 4.0. Alea Flores for varsity cheer NNAA 318 champion, All-American champion, member of Skills USA, Student Council, softball player, flat hockey. Steve Jimenez for 3-year Letterman football player, 3-year Letterman baseball player, NHS member, and cumulative GPA of 4.0. Hunter Solis for 3 Letterman football player, member of Skills USA, All District 3 baseball player, boy representative for class 2025, cumulative GPA of 3.3. Again, Madam Chair, thank you for your time. It's an honor to be here. And thank you to your parents, for your parents that took you to practice all those years that developed you into what you are today. Thank you to your coaches for developing you from Little League all the way up to what you've become now. And above all, thank yourselves and take the honor of keep doing things and trying as hard as you can to accomplish all your dreams. God bless you all, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. So I think we try to get everyone. Coach, if you wouldn't mind passing out the rest. Ms. Anto. And then we do have one for powerlifting, Miss Maddie Theus.
She's the 2-time state champion, Maddie Tellis.
2-time. And I think that's why you have 2 packets up here. And like I said, with the softball ladies, we can coordinate and get your pictures taken as well. Congratulations. We're all very proud of you. Thank you. And if you guys need to leave, we totally understand. All right, that moves us to public input. Item A, agenda items. And it looks like we have Miss Suzanne Chavita, Mrs. Norma Ramirez, Miss Erica Luckhurst, Miss Teresa Villa, and Miss Caitlin Church. So the board provides the opportunity to speak on either agenda items or items of concern or both. In order to ensure that each individual has an opportunity to address the board provides a speaker a total up to 5 minutes to speak during one or both designated public input times. The board president will recognize speakers, maintain proper order, and ensure adherence to the time limit of 30 minutes for all public input speakers, and a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker. The president may also set a time limit of less than 5 minutes for all individual speakers based upon the number of requests received. Questions of fact asked by the public shall, when appropriate, be answered by the president or referred to the superintendent for reply. No action or discussion shall transpire among board members regarding public input, questions, or comments. Questions regarding investigations may be referred to the superintendent for later report to the board. Questions or comments on matters that are currently under legal review will not accept a response. Personal attacks on board members, district personnel, or other persons in attendance or absent by those who address the board are discouraged. Presenters are cautioned that statements or representations concerning others that convey an unjustly unfavorable impression may subject the presenter to civil action for defamation. So it looks like we have Ms. Chavita up first. Ms. Chavita, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, good evening, President Begay, members of the board. I'm here tonight to request a potential restructuring of the proposed salary schedule. I understand it was finalized last week during a finance committee meeting, and I was only made aware of this schedule last Thursday. Hence why I have this venue to state my concerns. After my review of the 25-26 salary schedule, I felt it was necessary for me to ask you to reconsider the proposed salary schedule for my current position. As you know, teacher and principal salaries were raised to a uniform statewide level, which is a mandate by the Public Education Department. However, a minimum salary for my position is set by the school district and not the state. After looking over the salaries for the next year, I noticed my salary did not increase exponentially as other salaries did. Again, when I initially accepted this position, it was a step up from a principal position. And I told my story in one of your handouts. I'm not going to go over it, but I would like you to read it. At that time, this position was a step up for me, and salary and also career progression. I had every reason to expect that the job would continue to be a step up for me in the following year, not only in salary, but in position as well. But the new salary schedule does not reflect that belief. I'm requesting that the proposed salary schedule not be approved at tonight's board meeting. I'm willing to meet with you directly to offer input on a fair schedule for the upcoming school year. Thank you for your consideration and for listening to me tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Chavita. Okay, next up is Ms. Caitlin Church.
Madam President, esteemed board members, Mr. Interim Superintendent. First off, I'd like to thank you for your time and the work you do for this district. When I was first offered this position with this district by then Superintendent Jeff Spalletta, he promised me that I would be making at least what I was making my first year at my previous district, $85,000. Of course, he didn't put that in writing because then he could be held responsible for that. If the salary schedules presented here tonight pass, I'll finally be making that $85,000. I came here from a district of similar size, student population, set in a rural area with a higher cost of living. After living in Grant County for 2 years, I've honestly say that I found where I belong. I'm currently a board member for the Gila Community Foundation, active in several other organizations inside the county, and I have no desire or intention to move. With that being said, I would like to call your attention to several things that lead me to believe that I value and support this school district a whole lot more that it values me and the contributions I make. First, Jenna Jacquez, Director of Licensure for PED, told me in an email dated 12/26/23 that it was at the discretion of the district whether I be licensed. Norma Ramirez, Coordinator of Human Resources, then sent an email to my direct supervisor, Suzanne Chubita, that the district has decided that licensure would not be required for my position. Secondly, that according to the directors, coordinators, and supervisors' salary schedule that was published in the board packet for this week, it says for coordinator level 2, status is reserved for those holding a level 3 administrative license, supervisor, and classroom instruction experience. This indicates to me that I will never qualify for a position higher than a coordinator level 1 in this district. This, combined with the fact that the salaries of all other licensed administrators in this district, even a dean of students with no experience, are higher than my base salary that I will be receiving this coming year with 8 years of experience and a master's degree. I believe this shows a pervasive opinion that since I don't hold PED licensure, then you consider me a second-class employee. I hope I am mistaken in this assumption and the wording on the salary schedule is an oversight that will be corrected, or that you as a board have considered promotion beyond coordinator to director for me. Regardless of any decision made here tonight, I will continue to do my job to the very best of my ability without hesitation. Like I said, I have no desire or intention to move, so whatever salary I get, I get. I just would like to know that at the end of the month, I have more to show for it than stress-induced tension headaches and an empty savings account. Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Miss Norma Ramirez.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Piper. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I come before you as the Human Resources Coordinator, but also as a committed member of the district's administrative team, to express a growing concern shared among my colleagues, one rooted in fairness, equity, and respect for the roles that we serve. At the beginning of the 23-24 school year, a structural shift occurred when several administrative positions formerly titled as directors were reclassified and rehired under the title of coordinators. Along with that change came a significant salary reduction, approximately $30,000 annually. This change was not reflective of a reduction in responsibility. In fact, since stepping into these coordinator roles, we have performed the exact same duties as our director predecessors. Moreover, we have taken on even greater burdens, including correcting years of departmental noncompliance, developing, implementing, and enforcing essential policies and procedures, and in many cases, rebuilding systems that have long been neglected, along with restoring operational integrity across departments. We are correcting years of noncompliance and bringing structure and accountability to areas that desperately needed it. All of this has been done with less compensation and diminished title recognition. At the time of hire, former Superintendent Dr. Spalletta assured us that our salaries would be adjusted to align with the responsibilities we were undertaking. Unfortunately, with his abrupt departure, that promise was never fulfilled. Additionally, when we compare our pay to that of coordinators and directors in districts similar in size to the Cobre School District, we fall behind significantly. This creates a growing concern about not only retention, but also our ability to recruit strong talent in the future. This issue is further compounded by the recent mandates from the New Mexico Public Education Department, which significantly increased salaries for certified staff, including teachers, nurses, assistant principals, and principals. While this is a positive and necessary step, those same mandates exclude central office administration, coordinators, and directors who are only receiving a 4% increase, despite holding significant responsibilities and oversight. As a result, pay scales are beginning to flatten in a way that undermines both administrative hierarchy and the responsibilities of our positions. It creates a system in which staff that we supervise and support are earning salaries equal to or greater than our own. My request this evening is not just about numbers, it's about fairness. It's about ensuring that those of us that are doing director level work are recognized and compensated as such. It is also about honoring the commitment this district made when we were brought on board and continuing to build a culture of integrity, equity, and respect. As the PED defines what our certified staff should be paid, it becomes the responsibility of this board to ensure administrative pay is adjusted in kind. I respectfully urge you to review our titles and salaries, to consider restoring them to director status, and to bring our compensation in line with the work that we are already doing. If further justification is needed, I encourage the board to conduct a thorough review of each coordinator's department, examining the state of those departments before and after our leadership, considering our credentials, and taking into account annual evaluations. Let merit and the measurable improvements we've made speak for themselves. This is not about creating division, it's about restoring balance. The same standard of fairness being applied to certified staff compensation must also be extended to the administrators who support them, guide them, and ensure the health of the district's overall. Thank you for your time, and I ask that you do what is right for equity and fairness of our district. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Ms. Teresa Villa. She's not going to speak. Okay. Then last on my list is Mrs. Erica Luckhurst. Are you there, Mrs. Luckhurst?
I'm here, sorry about that, I'm having some problems somewhere I'm at. Everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mrs. Luckhurst.
Okay, I just want to piggyback on my colleagues today, and basically where we're at right now. For myself, I just want to mention that I currently hold the level 3B administrator license, which according to the new salary schedule is required for a level 2 coordinator position. However, that is the same license that Ms. Davida has also. So again, I'm not sure what more I would need to prove to then reach the director status. In addition, when comparing my daily rate and my daily salary, for example, somebody that I directly supervise as of right now, their daily rate is $116 a day higher than mine. So again, the people that I'm supervising have a higher salary than I do, which makes it difficult, to, not difficult, but it can be demoralizing when we feel undervalued to like all the hard work we've been putting in the last 2 or 3 years. Those of us who have been here with all the changes we've undergone and all the departmental changes that we've made. So it makes it really disheartening to continue forward in that with the current structure as it is. So I just want to, add my voice in with my colleagues that we're asking for consideration of a restructuring of the salary schedule for our administrative team.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Luckhurst. All right, that moves us to item 3B. Is there any public input on items of concern? Anything online, Caitlin? Okay, then that moves us to item 7, our Finance Committee report. So we did meet in Finance, I believe last Tuesday, Mr. Ryan? So all the budget increases that are coming up went through the Finance Committee, as well as the third quarter financial report. We did review the bills. We did take a look at salary schedules. stipend schedules, the budget, and transportation contracts. And so I just wanted to let the public know that we did have 2 finance meetings with the agenda posted where salary schedules were on the agenda. So I was really discouraged to hear that you guys couldn't come talk to us, but nevertheless. And then in finance, what we're recommending regarding salary schedules, and I'd like to read a statement. It just says, "Good evening," and this was a recommendation of the Finance Committee. Mr. Ryan, you were there, so you can attest to this. We want to take a moment to address the topic of salary schedules and increases for our central administration staff, as well as our custodians, maintenance teams, secretaries, paraprofessionals, and librarians. Each of these positions is incredibly valuable and essential to the daily operations of our schools. Without their hard work and commitment, our district simply cannot function. They are the backbone of our educational community, and their contributions deserve recognition and respect. That said, we believe it is critical that we take a thoughtful and informed approach when it comes to compensation. While everyone across the district, except for teachers and principals whose salaries are set by the legislature through the Public Education Department, we are recommending that they receive the mandatory 4% raise. We propose taking the next step with integrity and data-driven decision-making. So our Finance Committee recommendation is that we bring in a professional firm to conduct a classification and compensation study for our district. This study would assess the appropriate pay for each position based on the responsibilities, qualifications, and our district's demographics. Many other school districts in New Mexico and across the nation have taken this step to ensure they are compensating employees fairly and competitively. Issuing inconsistent raises, especially within the central administration staff, without clear data or justifiable criteria opens the door to inequity and risk. That is not how we should operate. We owe it to our staff, our students, and our community to make informed, equitable decisions. We need to allow the experts and the data to guide us. This way, we ensure that our resources are allocated fairly, our employees are valued appropriately, and our district continues to move forward with transparency and accountability. Thank you. Mr. Ryan, I don't know if you want to add anything. Mr. Thadasas isn't here tonight to speak to that either. Okay. Are there any questions about about the Finance Committee report? Sure.
This is the first the board hears about that, and generally board involvement occurs along in the process in ways, whether it's an open meeting workshop or something else. But to hear it again as already given to us as a final product without really any other participation from the board, I think is taking the position of a finance committee outside of its parameters. It is not to make decisions for the board. It is to recommend decisions to the board. And I really find it not a good thing when we're blindsided by staff that bring up what I see as very, very legitimate concerns that could have been handled without a study. But nevertheless, I do agree with the study, but it having to be done after the submission of the salary schedules already is kind of asking us to approve something that you're saying admittingly that maybe the data wasn't there, other than the ones that were prescribed by the state, that maybe you didn't have data to make a good decision.
Yes, sir, I'd agree with that the salaries set forth. But I also want to make it clear that our finance committees are open to the public. And we've had this on our agenda twice. And this is a recommendation, much like the audit committee when they come forward with a recommendation. And so tonight, that's why I'm presenting this recommendation on behalf of the finance committee. And like I said, I wish Mr. Thadasas was also here so he could give his input. But this wasn't just done, in the dark of night in one meeting. This was a discussion we had. Mr. Corey, our former superintendent, was also there, representative of his staff.
Again, the parameters of the audit committee as well as the finance committee is to serve as the people that develop recommendations but engage in conversation without the board to ensure that they're headed in a very cohesive manner. And in this case, it wasn't one that we have enough information to say, yeah, this is good enough for us right now, because we discussed all collectively as the board. We didn't. And as a board member, I can't support it.
Well, I respectfully disagree with you, but I appreciate your opinion, sir. Are there any other questions on my finance committee report? Okay, that moves us to our number 8, our audit committee report.
We did meet last Wednesday, and we had everybody there except for the previous superintendent, Mr. Corey. But everything that we discussed was in the executive session, so can't really discuss much of that. But we made a lot of progress. We discussed a lot of things, and then we are also going to meet this Wednesday as well to talk about some of the things that the other members of the committee had brought up, and they want to see some data and previous audits and go over things like that at our next meeting, which is this Wednesday.
Okay,
Is that it, Mr. Ryan?
any questions?
I do. How far along are we to submitting any other audits to the state?
Aside from the special audit?
Yeah, the regular, the 23 audit would be, I guess, the next one.
Pretty close. I think Mr. Ryan had pretty much almost everything done on his end, and
Is there a projected date?
we didn't determine one at the last meeting, but it's something we could discuss this Wednesday.
Anything else? Okay, that moves us to item 4E, first reading of Policy Advisory 263, graduation exercises and student discipline. So these were in your packets. Are they on the website?
They're there.
Okay, we can look real quick. No, it doesn't look like they're there. So let's, we're gonna have to put it on the agenda again, because this is not truly a first reading if it wasn't on the website. But we don't take any action on it at this point. It's just a informational item under new business. Okay. That moves us to item 5, our administration principal / director's reports. Item A, special education coordinator, Ms. Erica Luckhurst.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a few different things to go over tonight. The first one is our beginning of year, end of year assessment results, and I apologize I can't be on Google Meet to share with you in a more visual way, but I will go over these, and then if you would like visual copies, I can email them to the board as well. For the high school, the overall growth in math from beginning to end of year was 73%, and in reading, 82%. The students that are achieving on grade level of high school in math at the beginning of the year was 10%, and it was 13% at the end of the year. 10% for reading at the beginning and 20% at the end. I also looked at students that grew by one or more grade level equivalent. So 37% of our students in math grew at least one grade level, and 56% grew at least one grade level in reading. Now I looked at the different tests for the 8th grade, so the metrics are a little bit different, but I looked at on-target achievement, and I combined expected growth and above expected growth. So again, for the beginning of the year, in math, our students were at 4% on target, and this year they were at 8%. In reading, they were at 8% on target achievement in reading, and 2% at the end of the year. So we dropped a little bit on our achievement in reading. And then language usage, we were at 7% at the beginning of the year and 6% at the end. So again, that's another drop there. When we look at the growth, however, math is at 15% at the beginning of the year and 44% at the beginning of the year. Reading started at 12% and ended at 47%. And language usage started at 63 and ended at 63. So our growth is good. Our on-target achievement in terms of grade level, we still have some work to do there. All those numbers, again, were below 10%, so we definitely have some work to do there with 3rd to 8th grade. But in general, like I said, our growth is doing pretty well. Most of our kids are making expected or above expected growth. But with personnel, and then all our combined together as well. So, getting end of year in math was 69%, reading was 69%, and language usage was 57%. So again, that's all just about 3rd and 5th graders. Our on-target for achievement for math, we were at 0 at the beginning of the year and 9% at the end of the year. Reading was 11 at the beginning and 37% at the end. And language usage was at 21% at the beginning and 40% at the end. And then again, we look at growth for math. We started out at 23 and ended at 46. Reading started at 21 and ended at 68. And language usage 27 to 62. So again, our growth is definitely our stronger point right now, rather than our grade level achievement, but that's something that we'll continue to work on. However, knowing that a lot of our kids that may not be attainable, but we're still keeping track to make sure that we're getting more and more kids up to that expected on-target level. And then for kinder to 2nd grade, this is why 100% of students made growth in both reading and math. On the iReady test, level 5 was considered grade level proficient. So we went from 5% at a level 5 in math to 55% at end of year, and 11% in reading at the beginning to 38% at the end. So again, those K2 kiddos are, of course, it's usually really great things for them, as they're, still funded and learning everything so quickly at that point. And then as we get older into those middle grades, it's a little bit tougher to keep them on grade level. But again, that's something we're going to keep working towards. I also have a report on our progress report completion for this school year. So Cobre reading made 100% completion on time, which was great. That was back in March. However, for 4th quarter, we dropped to 73%. So again, I think a lot of that has to do with the end of the year. There's so much going on and so many things to wrap up. I think that we just kind of fell a little bit lower than we would like to see, but they were done on time in terms of getting them out and getting them home with their report cards to parents. So overall, they were 100% compliant by the time they had to go home. So that's still pretty good compared to where we were a year ago. Last year at 4th quarter, we were at 75%, so we're a little lower than that this time. So when you look back at quarter 1 for the 23-24 school year, we had 45% completion. So we've definitely come a long way, and we're going to keep working on that into next year. Another update that I have is we're getting a new IEP program next year called SpedTrack. We began implementation on May 1st, with full integration will also be transferred to Power School, which will help support us with compliance and streamline of our data to the state. There'll be some staff training coming up in July and August, and then also throughout the year, they will support us at any time if we need additional training. SpedTrack is much more intuitive and user-friendly than what we're currently using, so I'm excited for us to get on there and be able to get some great reporting data. And there's different features in there that will be helpful for our nursing staff as well, so I'm excited to get that going. And then I attended a legal conference in April regarding updates to Fed law, so I have a few topics to mention on that. The first one that was brought up was SPED and chronic absenteeism. Of course, as we know, for all students, absenteeism that is chronic can lead to compounding learning gaps, progression of skills, and interruptions to therapy and services for kids with disabilities. The district faces legal risks such as due process complaints if absenteeism is not properly addressed through the IEP. So that means that students receiving special services are required to have equal access to education. If absenteeism is impacting their progress, the IEP must gain services and or support to ensure they're making adequate progress in general education as well as on their IEP goals. There have been legal cases where districts have been in violation of the free and appropriate public education or FAPE for referring a student to truancy without implementing additional intervention, services, or support to address that. So currently, with the CRS to ensure that our procedures are considering these things, both for kids identified with disabilities and ones who are not. If you have a kid who's chronically absent and maybe there is something super going on, and if they don't want to go to school, if they're social-emotional or academic or other concerns that are impacting them that may be identified as a disability, we want to target that and address that quickly. So some of the things we're looking at are what are the patterns and triggers related to absences, what factors are there because academic, social, or emotional, how can we better collaborate with families, and do we need a behavior plan or other interventions to help support students and the family as they get to school. The other topic that came up was Title IX. In January of 2025, the Department of Education announced that Title IX regulations are going back to the 2020 rules, and rather than the ones in 2024 under guidance. So we went back to the 2020. On March 20th, there was an executive order by the president to dismantle the Department of Education at the federal level. But again, might also impact how we conduct Title IX investigations, but we haven't heard anything new on that so far, since that was their role at least. The Office of Civil Rights is still enforcing Title IX, and so there needs to be more information on that. I do want to note, though, that out of the 29 that we have this year, 8 of the cases that I would involve with disability in one way or another, either as the defendant or the respondent. Unfortunately, as the disabilities tend to be our most vulnerable population, which is also evidenced by the Title IX situation that we've had. So it's really important that I continue to be part of that process and be consulted when those things happen involving students with disabilities, either through IEPs or final boards. The other topic that came up was healthcare, which again is another thing happening under our new administration. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 protects against racial discrimination in school discipline practices. An executive order 2025 states that journals will be guidelines. There's certainly, I think, collective data on discipline nationwide to find out what our current practices are and things of that nature. So there have not been any updates since the end of the conference. I did look into it. There was nothing new since then. However, that will be coming, I think, soon on a nationwide level. There may be changes. There are some concerns that these changes may be in violation of the Civil Rights Act, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens as we move along this school year. The last major topic that I want to review is our Title Fund obligations, which is that the district has required to actively seek out and identify children with disabilities that remain in services for special education support. For us, this includes children from birth to age 21. For us, more specifically, we look at like age 2.5 through 12th grade. Our early intervention, usually through amplified and silver, all the times they will refer children to us that we did evaluate prior to them attending preschool. So the state mandate on that was that is that they're eligible to start preschool on their Thursday, regardless of when that falls on the calendar. So our evaluation that goes on through that to identify the students. Again, we know early intervention is the best, one of the best options we have to help kids close the gap while they're young. And so we have to complete the evaluation around help with that obligation. However, again, it doesn't just include our low guys, it's also any student, any grade level. pre-K through 12. We want to be making sure that we're using our MLSS process for identifying students who may need additional support. I also just wanted to do a quick recap of our evaluation. So this past school year, we had a total of 53 evaluations K through 12. Additionally, we had 10 students who were referred for an initial evaluation, either sharing or staff request. 26 of the 53 evaluations included OT, 6 included speech, 12 included psych, 1 included social work, and 2 included physical therapy. In terms of our student evaluation, again, these are our 3-year-olds. We did a total of 19 speech evaluations, 15 developmental evaluations with our psychologists. 14 of those 19 speech evaluations were found eligible, and 12 of those with developmental surveys were found eligible for services. We also completed 4 additional developmental trainings that did not fall for the evaluation. So we also exited this year. We exited because we were making great progress and we did specialize in work. So we exited 5 at Bayard, 3 at Central, 4 at high school, 1 at Snell, and 2 at San Lorenzo. So the total of 15 that we exited, and then of course we got our 13 new speech kiddos coming in, as well as some of those also within that developmental evaluation. So we exited 15 and we're getting 13 new, so this is a constant process for us. We never really get to a point where we're ever finished evaluating or that we're ever finished providing services. It's kind of it's a constant flow, which is great. And we love it when kids graduate from special ed and then move on and go on to doing great things. And so the ones we still have, of course, we're supporting the best we can and trying to find those who might need that support. Any questions on any of those topics?
Any questions? Go ahead, Mr. Guadiana.
I have a question. One is, can we get the data in terms of the percentages of scores in a hard copy at some point?
Yes.
Okay, either way, whatever's convenient to you, I'd appreciate. The other part, you just mentioned exiting some kids. Does that mean that they become, they're out of special ed, now they're in the regular class?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And lastly, one of the reasons that we have, at least the intent of it was, we have the presentations from the departments, is that to give you an opportunity to identify resources that you still need that we might be able to strive to be able to provide. So do you have anything that you think would, like interventionalists, that I know is a pretty constant need, but anything that we could provide that makes the program more successful?
I think that, just having the awareness that we are, again, picking up, to be completely honest, more than a decade's worth of evaluations that were either have not been done. For example, we have a high school senior this year that graduated who hadn't been tested since he was in 4th grade. And so when we have that many years without evaluation, it can become really concerning that we may have missed things or there might be other areas to evaluate. And so I think just the awareness that, these evaluations, they're costly and they're time consuming, and it's something that we have to catch up on. We are still very behind in terms of the number of evaluations we need to either update to make sure that they are compliant and correct, and we still have ongoing evaluations. Like I said, with our incoming 3-year-olds, plus our kids that are due for a 3-year reevaluation, also you can see that cycle going. So we have multiple different evaluation cycles happening all at one time. And so I think just, we have the staff to do them, but I think, of course, the funding is difficult and it's expensive, and I know that there's sometimes confusion about why are we doing this, why, does it ever end? And unfortunately, it doesn't. It's something that's ongoing, and just that we need to make sure that, again, we're obligated by federal and state law to provide these evaluations and provide these plans. And our team is great, and they are working really hard to get really good plans for kids, but that comes with, a very time-consuming process. So I am reaching out to some other districts to try to find some in-person staff to help us with evaluations. It can be difficult for our virtual staff for a variety of reasons to conduct evaluations, and getting devices set up for kids, get, sometimes need proctors and things like that. So those are some of the challenges that we come into that, again, with the way things are now, it's harder to get in-person staff. And so, anyone that has any recommendations or knows people that can support us, we would love to collaborate with more people to try to get these evaluations completed and get kids what they need on time.
Thanks for bringing that up. That is quite a challenge, and we were so far behind. And I appreciate the effort is going forward and look forward to having a new superintendent to kind of work it in a way that will help us catch up, not only in this area, but all the other areas that we need to catch up on. Thank you.
Mrs. Luckhurst, I had a question about the kids that are exited. Are they still tracked through SAT?
Yes, they are returned to SAT when they exit the SAT procedure. So they go back to intervention, and I believe they're monitored for a year. And then if they no longer need that support, then they exit from all interventions. So a lot of the kids we exited were speech, and so there were a few that we exited that were academics as well. And so those kids are being monitored. And so I still look at their test scores as well, they exited to kind of just keep track of some of them as well. So, and again, special ed isn't once you're out, you can never come back. So we're always monitoring those kids to make sure that their needs are being met. We can also refer kids to 504 if that is a more appropriate plan for them.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, Ms. Heredia, Mrs. Harden? Okay, thank you, Mrs. Luckhurst. That moves us to item B, our Human Resources Coordinator, Mrs. Norma Ramirez.
Good afternoon again. I would like to begin by presenting the district's updated personnel report for the month of May through June. This report outlines our current vacancies, recently filled positions, and includes the names of both outgoing and incoming staff members. So over the past several weeks, I've been extremely busy managing several critical aspects of the human resources operations. A significant portion of my time has been dedicated to posting vacancies, routing incoming applications for review, filling open positions, and conducting the full onboarding process for all new hires. This includes setting them up on top of the regular paperwork. It includes setting them up in our systems like PowerSchool, SmartFind Express, and Vector Solutions training. In addition to onboarding, I've actively been supporting our certified staff as we approach the June licensure renewal dates. This includes assisting them with licensure renewals, submitting endorsement waiver applications, and obtaining licensure extensions for those currently completing the micro-credentials in order to level up in their licenses. I've also been working diligently to update our employee actuarial records. Each personnel file is being updated to reflect the 24-25 school year. And that includes the employee's title, their work location, number of days worked, and their contract amount. So earlier this year, I shared with you an update about our transition to the paperless onboarding system that allows new employees to complete their documents online. But while it was convenient in theory, I found that many of the forms were being submitted incomplete or late, requiring multiple follow-ups. So as a result, I revised the process. New hires now come into the office for a one-on-one onboarding session. This has significantly improved accuracy, timeliness, and allows for a more personalized experience. It also gives me the opportunity to introduce them to our district office team and answer any questions that they may have. For employees that are located out of town, I continue to send the onboarding packets electronically, but now with the detailed page-by-page instructions, which has improved the process considerably. Also, I am very pleased to report that we have successfully recruited 21 new substitute teachers this school year, bringing our total number of active substitutes to 58 district-wide. That was a huge problem last year. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
One of the things I'd like you to consider, and just looking at this, you're currently using a lot of contractors for some services. And in many cases, we've found that a contractor can actually save money for the district because we don't owe that 30% in their benefits. So one thing to consider, and I will definitely work with Mr. Ryan on that. But, it's just one of those things, a lot of times it seems like we're paying those people a lot, when in reality, if you looked at a salary plus benefits, it would be more. So just one of the things that I'd like to, take a look at and work with him on.
Thank you.
I had a question in terms of, is there a retention program that is working to see if we can reduce the flight?
We do not have a retention program currently that we're using or going by, no. But it's something that we can definitely look into and see what alternatives we have.
I think that might help.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I think so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that moves us to 5C, our operations coordinator, Mr. Gary Placencio.
So I'm just gonna give you guys an update of what we've been doing. We're really busy. The guys are, I don't know what they did in the past, but this is not my job, I feel. And we've taken a lot of stuff on to save the district money. Some of the stuff I could tell you, we did I did this kind of by myself. I did the parent center. I know they got contractors to look at it. When I first got here, it was roughly 3,000 square feet. I put all new flooring, painted the whole thing, put shelving, and then we took it a step further and built the washroom. And went from that project, went into some other stuff like the store over at the high school. Had some going on with making t-shirts and stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen the store.
It's really
Yes,
nice.
we
We
were
saw
able
the
to.
floor and the walls and everything that you installed.
Yeah, so, we kind of added the recessed lighting, did the flooring. We're gonna build some shelves in there. The shelves are kind of like a little afterthought, so like kind of get pulled somewhere else and we can start building. Built the ticket booth, we need to paint them still, but they're built and we got them out. Right now I'm building 4 sheds for pre-K, building one over at Hurley, one over at Bayard, Sanlo, and Central. Of course, when we were talking about the initial build, they showed me like some little shed and I'm like, but we can build that, and then we start building it. And then when we already submitted how much they were going to cost to Frank, of course, they're like, can we add some shelving and stuff in there? I'm like, let's just get them built first and then, we'll do some other stuff. Changing the attitude of, it's been hard. It's, trying to hire people, and of course everybody tells you what you want to hear, and then you get them out there, and then we gotta, and the thing is, like, I'm training everybody. I'm not a paperwork person. The only way these guys are doing it, I'm with them side by side. They can't complain it's hot. Can't complain about all that stuff because I'm right there in it with them. What's funny is when I drive around, and I'm going from A to B. I'm not checking on the guys, but you can tell when they start scattering and stuff like that. And holding everybody accountable has been really difficult. I mean, thanks to Norma, we don't have a whole lot of policy set in place, So I got to go to Norma. I rely on Norma so much that we got to create them, and then we got to do proper documentation, and that's kind of where I'm falling short, but it's not that I'm falling short, I'm just not used to doing it. I'm kind of a hands-on guy, and I'm kind of learning, having those crucial conversations with some of the employees. Mr. Corey made us read a book, Crucial Conversations, and I've kind of learned a lot of that, having those conversations with the guys, and then, I used to lose my temper. If you raise your voice, I'm going to raise my voice. And now, just sitting back and just really ending the conversation if it's not going well, and really training the guys. I mean, we're starting to change little by little. It hasn't been easy by no means, but I really think we're in the right direction. We're doing a lot. I don't know what was here in the past. I don't know. I can't compare, but I've just heard. We've got a lot going on. Again, for Drock, we're gonna redo the entire entrance of his office, the hallway, the secretary's area. We're gonna build a new countertop. So we've got all that going on. Yeah, we can get contractors, but if I can teach these guys, it's a fraction of what contractors, and a lot of this is preventive maintenance. If we can just keep it, we can.
And the contractors I was referring to are like the special education
Okay.
contractors, where they're doing speech pathology and physical therapy and some of that. So yeah, it sounds like you're doing a great job.
I see what the contractors pay. I know what they're charging per square foot, and it's like outrageous. I have the skill set. I'm teaching the guys, and it's been challenging. Right now, I'm kind of falling behind them because I'm letting them do the work. It's a lot easier. I've been in the past where I'll take the gun away from them and just let me do it. Like, I'll just do it. But like, I've got to learn to sit back and watch them, and they're growing. They're all open to it. I mean, yeah, I have a couple that are still pushing back, but either they're gonna jump on board or we're gonna make some changes, And I think Norma's been helping me huge on this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, there's so much I know I'm missing, but I know we changed the motor out over at Snell for the geothermal. Of course, everybody got a break during the last spring break, or whatever break we had. I had to work it because that's when the contractors could come in, And now, I think in the past, they didn't answer their phone if we had an issue come up, and now the guys are answering the phone. They're like, yeah, and I try to make it to who, not relying on the same person all the time. And we go and I try to break it up, and I can honestly say now more than half of them are answering the phone before they would. And like I've told them, answer your phone, just talk to me, don't ignore me, and just tell me what you got going on. Some of them, hey, I got this going on, all right, let me go down to the next person. If I can't find nobody, then I come out, and before I was the only one coming out. But, I mean, I can complain about the crew, but at the same time, everybody is trying. I see it going in a good direction. It's, like I said, it's been very challenging, especially having those conversations, that I'm not used to having. I've had to end some, and Mr. Corey gave me great advice, like, just end it when it's not going right. And that's what I'll do. I'll end it, pick it up back the next day or something. Anything I do, I get with Frank first. I don't know the budget. I'm not going to go spend money and then beg for forgiveness later. I mean, I don't know what we got, but I trying to get the guys to at least use what we have in the shop first before we go buy it. I don't just go buy it to buy it, because I mean, I got to make sure, I got to see the work order. There has to be a work order for it. Before they were just buying stuff and weren't using it. And now I make them look through the shop. I'll look myself before we go and purchase it. And I'm trying to limit my spending, where I was going every day. Now I'm going only twice a week and stuff like that. And I'm like, the first thing is there a work order for it? Let me see the work order, and then we go from there. That's pretty much, I mean, we got to do, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but it's just preventive maintenance, just staying on it and changing the mindset with some of the guys. But I really got to say we're headed in the right direction. You know,
Any,
pretty much I got. I don't know
any
if you guys-
questions? I'd just like to make a comment. The turnaround on your guys' ticket booths was amazing.
Yeah.
You knocked those out quick.
Well, and see, that's the thing. This is what's funny about the guys. When I tell them to do something, they give me a bunch of lip service. You know, and I'm like, you know, when Mr. Corey asked me, he goes, "Hey, can you get him out?" He's like, "Yesterday, I needed him yesterday." I'm like, "All right." Like, how would that look? I mean, like I tell the guys, like, how's that gonna look if I tell Mr. Corey or the superintendent, like, we're too busy, man. We got to jump on it. You know, and the thing is I sit back and I watch them when we built them. You know, they're getting a sense of pride also because they built it. You know, like how we did it. And I'm just, you know, it's funny to me because you know, but like I said, we got to paint them. We couldn't do everything, but I mean, got them out as fast as we could. We're trying to knock. We have a deadline on these for the pre-K also. Falling a little behind. There was some other issues we had, disciplining some of the staff, and you know, but you know, now we're on it. And the guys are good. I mean, I got to say, because some of them are even like, "Hey, we got to work the weekend. We'll work the weekend." I'm like, "Well, let's just plug away at it. We get there, we'll get there." And before they added, they'd give me every excuse in the book why they can't do anything after hours or anything like that. So I got to say, we're doing really good. I mean, I hope you guys can see that we are.
No, it seems like you guys are headed in the right direction, and it seems like Mr. Ryan made some purchases for vehicles for you guys.
Yeah, those were huge too. I mean, you know, some of the stuff we were driving before.
Oh yeah, he shared with me no air conditioning and
Yeah,
so
you know, and everybody's got a decent vehicle right now. I mean, actually a brand new vehicle. So I mean, like I told them too, like I checked to make sure they're clean. You know, right now we've been so busy, and I make them take a morning and like, "Hey, everybody clean your truck." You know, they'll say I'll clean, they're just clean, and I'll go and look. And I'm guilty of it too. Like my truck is loaded right now with material, you know, and we're just, it's very challenging. I mean, but it's fun at the same time. I mean, the crew's really changing around, you know. But, you know, as soon as Jasmine comes back, I mean, she's my paperwork.
that's what I was gonna ask. Do you miss her?
Yeah, like I'm pretty lost without her right now. I'm like, normally if somebody calls and I could just call somebody back. I could just call Jasmine will handle the paperwork for me. And I'm having to do that. So I have to do that first thing in the morning. And then I mean, I really can't wait till Jasmine gets back. And Norma's been picking up a lot of that for me too. And she's so busy. I mean, but what I see is, and what I feel is, we're starting to work as a team. You know, everybody's helping each other out. I can give you some examples. Mr. Gay, some of the janitors called in, and I got one of the guys who he had applied for a janitor's position, and then we picked him up, and he doesn't mind the work. And I'm like, you know what, go over there and help him. And he's more than willing, and you know, he goes and helps them out. And you know, before, I mean, there's still some of the guys that, no, I'm not going to go do that, you know, but I mean, we're just all helping each other out. That's what it's all about. You know, if we can save money somewhere, I mean, if we can, you know, the guys before, it's just funny because everything is, "That's not my job." I used to hear that a lot. "That's not my job." We don't do that. You know, and now I'm like, well, we do it now. Well, let's. And the thing is, like, they can't really complain on me too much because I'm right there with them. You know, I'm in the middle of the entire thing. You know, and I'm you know, before when I was just a regular hand, you know, the carpenter, I didn't want nobody's help. By taking this role on, now I've got to teach them. I've got to show them how. And I mean, it's been difficult but fun at the same time, and I think we're all headed in the right direction. And that's all I got. I mean,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've got a comment. The ticket booth.
mm-hmm.
The scenario that people were working, they were working, you know, sitting in a chair outside in the wind or something like that, or like in that case where the door, she was holding the door open in the truck and it like.
It was windy that.
Yeah, where it wouldn't close again. those have been going on for such a long time. And people are very accustomed to saying, well, that's the way it's always been. And I thought that was a really good way to show that this is the way it could be. We could see when we recognize something like that, hey, we can do this and make that better for them. And I think that'll continue to add, I'm sure it added pride in that particular case. But I appreciate what you're doing. You walked into a place that was starting to get some balance, but it was way worse before then. And I appreciate your persistence. And one thing that I kind of think twice about is the use of work orders. They have their place, but there's something that could be instilled, or maybe it already is, where they say that, if you see something that needs to be fixed and you're there, fix it. And one of the things that makes me think of that a lot is the marquee in front of the high school. I don't know how long that's been down. I think since before Christmas.
Well, we've been working with Caitlin on that. She's actually got, I don't even know what are they called? Those little power supplies. She's ordered a couple, and we've installed them for her. It's really a matter of troubleshooting.
The company that sold them to us, they're based out of Florida, and I called, messaged, an email, it might be 2 weeks, not 5 years. And when they call, I'm in the middle of doing something else, and it's not like I can drop what I'm doing, just drive over early to the high school to start troubleshooting while they're on hold.
We've been trying to help her out whenever she gets parts. I've even gone myself where everybody's tied up. Anywhere we can help. I mean, I know they're not fixed yet, but I mean, we're helping Caitlin on that also.
Well, it's a relief to know that that's already going on. So that's really.
Actually, we did another one at Central too, right?
Well, we worked on it again. It didn't respond to the troubleshooting we did on site that day. So again, okay, come back.
Yeah. So whenever she calls, either if I'll send somebody, if not, then I'll even go myself. Wherever we can help. And I think, like I said before, like that, it's just funny because before, I don't know what was going on. I really don't. But that's what I heard a lot. Like, it's not my job, but we don't do that. And changing their mindset, it's been challenging, but now, like, I'm just seeing it is getting better. I'll send guys back on the same where I don't approve of their work, and I'm like, they get offended. I try not to make too big of a deal, but I'm like, hey, you got to go back and fix it. Like, it's not acceptable. I'm sorry. He's like, what's wrong with it? And I'm like, if you want me to go show you, I'll go show you. But like, go fix it, and he'll go back. And I've sent them back 3-4 times, and now I think everybody's getting intent. They're not. I mean, I'm kind of involved in everything. I'm not just sending people out. I go look at the job to make sure it was done right, or if it was done at all. And right now I'm also helping with the principals are going on their break, so I'll take over the janitorial. So I'll be stopping in just to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I appreciate you very much. And, if you run across training that would benefit from, or materials that benefit from, that's something you can talk to the superintendent about. And you don't need to learn everything on your own.
Yeah. Well, I did. I mean, a while back, I went to a locksmith school, and cool. We're in a bigger mess with the locks too. But I've been making the keys and changing locks, and it's good. I'm trying to do it all. I mean, when I saw some of the quotes for what they were just making keys for us, I was like, we can do this. So I mean, we make keys. We just got to get blanked all the time.
And there's a waiting time for locksmiths.
Yeah.
Big time.
Well, thank you, Mr. Placente. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, that moves us to item 6, our action items.
I would, I would like to make a motion to table the action items because I'm going to be having to step out. And I think some of these items need to be discussed with the full board. And so I would like to make a motion to table the action items until a full board is here to discuss.
Is there a second and any discussion?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Should we approve at least the minutes?
Ms. Heredia, are you okay with that?
We can. So
Okay,
with the exception of action item A, I'd like to table B through N.
and then 10
and
through
10
14.
through 14.
I'm sorry, 10 through 13.
Correct.
I would have a question. Is that going to delay anything needed time-wise that is required with the state?
The budget is due June 20th. So could we call a special board meeting next week? Okay,
Next week. So, but I mean, you as a board can handle what you need to handle. So,
okay. All right. I had a second. So let's do, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item A, approval of the special board meeting minutes of May 8th, 2025, regular board meeting minutes of May 12th, 2025, and special board meeting minutes of May 15th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item 14, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move.
Is there a second? Okay, we are adjourned at 6:32 PM.